As promised in one of my recent videos where I compared Apple to Framework, if you haven't seen it, check it out. This is the video where I will actually put two laptops head to head to help you decide which one to buy. The contenders, well, we have the M-chip MacBook Pro and the Framework Laptop 13, and the results might actually surprise you. But before we dive in, if you enjoy my content, I would really appreciate you subscribing, checking out my Discord server and Patreon. I have this weekly show called Novinky, which I only post onto my Patreon, and these are like very casual videos like me configuring my dream Framework Laptop 12. So if you would like to see videos like that, check it out. Thank you. Now, I can already imagine fanboys of both companies getting ready to write really mean comments about how the other company is the worst thing ever. Maybe you're a Framework fan and you see Apple as this very evil empire that sells you a laptop and then charges you $5,000 for a single speaker repair. Or maybe you're on Team Apple and you see Framework as an overpriced, flimsy paperweight. But at the end of the day, we buy laptops to get stuff done. Whether it's school, work, or a hobby, they are just tools. If the screen, trackpad, and keyboard suck, well, nothing else matters. Both of these laptops have like their very special features that the other one doesn't have. In some cases, they're even like polar opposites. What I want to say by this is that in this video, we're going to focus on what makes a good laptop and how each of these stacks up in these areas. I'm really not going to be talking about how pretentious one company is and this company does this, nothing like that. This is not the video for this. But trust me, once we get through the essentials, we're going to be talking about that one standout feature that each of these laptops have and that might make or break the deal depending on who you are. But let's not waste any more time and let's meet today's contenders. On one side, we have the M1 Pro MacBook Pro 14-inch with 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigabytes of storage. And on the other, we have the Framework Laptop 13 with an i5 125H with 32 gigs of RAM and a terabyte of storage. So why exactly did I choose these two? Well, they are both the smaller flagships from their respective companies. Sure, the Framework Laptop 13 might be a little cheaper, but once you spec it out, you put the 120Hz screen in, some expansion cards and a power adapter, you actually get pretty close to the MacBook price, and that's without an operating system. Then if you go with Linux, which you definitely should, it's free. But Windows 11 will cost you an extra $200. Now let's get into the head-to-head. Let's start with build quality. And yeah, you probably know what I'm going to say. Without considering any other feature, the MacBook Pro is just built extremely well. Now, don't get me wrong, the Framework Laptop 13 also holds up pretty well. I would say better than like 90% of Windows laptops, but compared to the MacBook Pro, it's just a very difficult comparison. And for me, it's not just about looks, it's about feel. And if the laptop feels good, you actually enjoy using it more. A really good example for this is the hinge on the MacBook Pro. It's virtually perfect. That said, the Framework has nothing to be ashamed of. Its hinge is actually also very good. And it has one feature that the MacBook Pro doesn't have, and I actually use this feature very often, and that is the 180-degree hinge. Especially at my home setup where I use the laptop as my second screen next to my main monitor on this little laptop stand. When I open the hinge 180 degrees, the laptop takes up literally no horizontal space on the desk. So I can put it really close to my normal monitor and it's not taking up space like my mouse space or whatever. This is something that the MacBook Pro just cannot do. Next up is the battery life, and this is something that I actually got a little heat for in my Framework Laptop 13 review. Also check that out if you haven't seen it. And there some people were like, I never need my laptop for more than 4 hours. Why do you complain? You can always charge it, blah, blah, blah. And I get it. I also rarely use my laptop for more than 4 hours at a time. And even in a train, there's like this power outlet that I can use, but it's not about that. But it is just objectively better to not have to think about charging, like almost ever, and that is the case with the MacBook Pro. Here is a real-world example that actually happens to me very often. I often take this train from Vienna to Prague, and when I use my Framework Laptop 13 very lightly during this train ride, I mostly like write scripts or whatever. This is very like on and off. So sometimes I let the laptop go to sleep and whatever. It goes to like from 80 to 30% in 3 hours. This is very light use. I would even say that most of the time the screen probably even isn't on. Now, yesterday on this train, I was writing this script on the MacBook, and in 3.5 hours, and I kid you not, it went from 100 to 88%. Now, again, you can argue that the Framework Laptop 13 would still manage to do this, but for me, it's just not the same. When you get out of the train and you know that you only have this percentage, you just have to think about it. You're like, will I manage? Will I need the laptop once I get off the train? With the MacBook, you just don't have to think about it. And it's part of the overall experience. And if you just don't have to think about charging that much, that is very meaningful to me. Now for the display, and you know what? The Framework wins that one for me. Both of the laptops have a really high PPI, 120 Hz, and the MacBook has actually very nice colors because of the mini LED screen it has. But I take the more matte 3x2 screen of the Framework Laptop 13 any day of the week. This aspect ratio is something that works really well on laptops. The vertical space is something that is often missing on laptops, and Framework nailed it here, better than basically anyone else. Another thing that I actually prefer on the Framework over the MacBook, and I know I'm in the minority here, and that is the keyboard. This might be just a personal habit because, to be fair, I used the Framework's keyboard the most for the past, I don't know, like a year. So it might be this, I use this keyboard the most. This means that I like it the most habit. But yeah, I just think it's better. The travel, the feel, it just feels better than the MacBook's keyboard. Oh, and by the way, what's going on with the MacBook's keyboard wear? Every single one of these new MacBook Pros, I don't know about the Airs, but probably as well, end up with like these very ugly, oily keyboards in a very short time. And no, I googled this, so this is not like some sort of a schnitzel grease that I have on my keyboard. This is really like wear that you just cannot get rid of. And thank God there are no signs of this on the Framework so far, so let's hope for the best. When we're talking about the keyboard, we also need to mention the trackpad. And here I would ask everyone on Team Framework to please mute the video for the next 30 seconds. Done? Okay. There's really no debate. The MacBook's trackpad is the best in the game, while the Framework's trackpad is one of the worst that I've used. 10 years ago, it would have been pretty good, but today it barely holds up. Now let's talk about ports. And when I say ports, you probably think of the Framework's expansion cards. I like them, you like them, we all like them. They are really cool, and to be honest, I switch them up all the time. But here's something I noticed right away when I started using the MacBook. The ports you get are the ports you get, but you get 6 of them, not counting the audio jack, which you also get soldered on the Framework Laptop 13. So even though the MacBook has a HDMI only on the right side and there's nothing you can do without a dongle, you get 6 ports, while on the Framework Laptop 13 you only get 4. And to be honest, it has happened to me that I actually wish that there was just one more space for a third expansion cards on each side. But because of the design, meaning that it doesn't matter what kind of port it is, the width of the expansion card itself has to be the same every time. So even if it's a USB-C, there's a lot of space around it because it also has to fit an, I don't know, like an HDMI, only to really fit on each side. If you want 6 expansion cards, you need to get the Framework Laptop 16. Okay, with the essentials out of the way, let's talk about each laptop's special feature. Starting with the Framework, say it with me, upgradability and repairability. If your speaker breaks, order one from Framework. If you need an SD card slot, order it from Framework. If you need more RAM, you get the idea. Compared to the MacBook, this is a massive deal. There, everything is soldered to the main board, and if basically anything breaks, it's cheaper, or maybe not cheaper, but it's almost cheaper to buy a completely new machine than having it sent to Apple and being repaired. Sure, if you take good care of your laptop, there is a very small chance that something goes wrong, but still, shouldn't you just be able to fix like more things in your laptop? There's literally nothing that you can change yourself on the MacBook Pro. Literally nothing, like zero. The MacBook's special feature is macOS, and it's genuinely a really good operating system. Like I said in my Apple versus a Framework video, it is Unix based, which means that you get a normal terminal and you get a normal file system while getting a extremely good support of professional apps. Something that Linux just doesn't offer. I hope that it will offer this someday, but now it's really impossible. It also doesn't have the constant ads that just plague Windows, and altogether feels much less bloated. Sure, it has its own annoyances, but for me and for many other people, it gets closest to the sweet spot. So what's the conclusion? Well, it's not as easy as saying just buy this one. If we're talking about fundamentals alone, yeah, buy the MacBook. It is a better laptop in this regard. But the Framework Laptop 13 is not that far behind, and it has features that no MacBook will ever have. I think I can best describe this with an analogy. Buying a Framework Laptop 13 is like buying an old house in a small village and fixing it up. It's more work, it's not the cheapest, and you'll have to invest a lot of time to get all of the things working. But when you go to bed at night, you feel the connection with your house because you build it with your own hands and you understand it, and you are able to fix everything within your house because, you know, this is your house and nobody can take that from you. And the MacBook, it's like a small flat downtown. Everything just works, the store is downstairs, and it's efficient and polished. But when it's time to move out, you don't think twice. It served you well, but that's it. So does that mean that the MacBook is the best choice for most people? Yes. Would I trade it for my Framework? No. Framework is a very specific kind of computer. If you feel that it's unique and you like the way it's unique, you should really consider it. Because even if you don't end up upgrading it or repairing it, under the hood, it's a very polished laptop. So what would you buy? The MacBook, the Framework, or both? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear your opinion. But that will be it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe, and also check out my Discord and Patreon. This video is dedicated to a guy that actually, the first person that actually subscribed to my Patreon. His name is Dan. So Dan, thank you for supporting me. So yeah, this video is for you. Have a nice day. Bye bye.